with family and friends. So I'm glad to be back with you again in the Zoom format. I want to thank Sandra and Kate and Susan for the setup today. On the Zoom end, it sure sounds and looks good. So I hope it's the same for you in the sanctuary there. And I'm happy to say that from this point of view, I can see that beautiful Jesus Christ painting in the back very clearly. And while I was, in my minister in residence there in the sanctuary and in the apartment, I kind of created a relationship with that image of Christ. And I'm happy to see that it's so clear, even from Zoom in North Carolina. So thank you very much for that. Ah, well, this is my last talk, right? I have one class on December 7th, but this is my last talk of the series before I come back in end of February and into March for another minister in residence. We've been working on our shamanic medicine wheel, basically, our wheel of consciousness, as I call it. And I wanted to start today, we want to wrap that up and talk about the three levels of consciousness in shamanism. But before I do that, I want to recap Emily Cady's work from 100 years ago. Really one of the core texts of unity is from Emily Cady, Lessons in Truth. And there's two pictures. Excuse it not being like fancy on PowerPoint or anything, but I'm kind of like an old-fashioned teacher sometimes, all right? So do you guys recall this picture? I talked about it, but I don't know that I showed it. Is that clear for you? All
Mhm.
right. So this is in the book, Lessons in Truth. There's a diagram that this is all one, this is all us, but in us, it's useful to think of um, the body, the soul, and spirit, right? So spirit, the absolute realm, soul, which is the accumulation of all of our things that are manifesting between the physical body and spirit. So this is where our subconscious is. This is where the action is here, the soul here. This is Unity's concept of soul. Nice and simple, right? And remember the idea that the body is like ice, and this middle soul area would be like water, and the spirit would be like steam, right? All different condensations, different forms of the same substance. And here's just one last picture to go put a little bit finer point on it, also from the Lessons in Truth. Is this is all about mind, right? Unity is all about our thoughts and our mind, our hearts as well. And here's how Unity in Lessons of Truth describes our levels of consciousness. And those of you in the metaphysics class, you're learning about this, right? So here's the consciousness, regular everyday consciousness, and remember, this is the body. In the middle here, in the soul area, this is our subconscious and our feeling nature. And here in the spirit is superconscious. So this is kind of the psychology way of looking at this same picture. And you can like take whole classes in this, right, to understand this. But I wanted to review this because I talked about it in, I think it was last week's talk. The reason for reviewing it is in this middle section called soul or called subconscious. In this middle section is where shamans do their work. This is there's the seen world, our physical body, seen world, and there's the unseen world, also called ordinary reality and non-ordinary reality. So this is the work of shamans and shamanic journeying and ceremonies and modern mystical experiences are all different experiences of the subconscious feeling nature, bridging with the conscious, bridging with the superconscious, as we are all one, blending all of that goodness inside of us. So you remember when I did the sheet and I talked about the world of form? Remember we held up the sheet in the sanctuary? We sort of stood behind it as a prop. Well, I have a different prop today. So we talked. What was it? I think one of the songs in the while we were waiting for our service to start today, talked about the veil, right? So this is the veil. It's more like a wrapper. This looks like a giant chocolate kiss, right? And who doesn't love chocolate? So here's our giant chocolate kiss. And I kind of view religion and belief, different belief systems, as kind of a nice wrapper. They're really pretty. This one even has a bow on it. You know, it's nicely wrapped up for us. And that's really useful. When you dig a little deeper or happen upon or create for yourself a mystical experience, you're kind of breaking through the wrapper, right? You're sort of breaking through the wrapper. Can you guys hear me okay? There, Kate, what's going on? I see Kate looking technical.
It looks good.
I just wanted Maya. Could you mute yourself just so because sometimes when you cough, it jumps away from Chris. So if you mute yourself for while Chris is speaking, that will make things a little
That's a
smoother.
good reminder for everybody. Let's make sure everybody's
Yeah.
muted.
Me,
Pauline, if you could mute,
I'm
that would
listening.
be useful. Thank you. All right, so I pulled away our Hershey's Kiss wrapper. This is a spirit inside here, by the way. This is the candy of spirit. Now, look at this. I can see light through it. You see, and I hold it up. See that blue that's showing up? It's like, oh wow, I can see it a little bit more, a little bit closer. Wow. And you know, this is good too, right? This is so good. Look how pretty that is. Like I could just stay like this. This would be great. But you could go a little bit farther. You can even take off more wrappers. And here, or tear a little hole in it so you can peek through. You don't have to remove the whole wrapper. But here it is again. And now I'm even closer, but there's still a wrapper. And the reason I'm showing you this is in shaman practice, shamanistic traditions, which is a human ability that some develop more than others, just like okay, anybody could potentially play the cello, but Yo-Yo Ma, he really makes an art of it, right? Like he takes that to an ascended experience. Same thing with shamanic and mystical practices. We can all do them. We all have a glimpse. How far we go, you know, that's up to us and our evolution in this lifetime. So here would be, in my experience, this is what shamanic journeying, which is a core practice of shamanism across all cultures, it's access to that subconscious soul level. This is what's happening. You're having fewer wrappers. The wrapper is your life experience, your culture, your subconscious, right? The wrapper is you. It's still a wrapper, but look how even more beautiful the spirit candy is. Right? Look how even more beautiful it is. The wrapper is lighter. Now, is it like that in everyday life? Well, not for me because I work and I choose to stay a little wrapped up so I can concentrate on my work. But other people, medicine men and women, mystics, I have a feeling that they go even further and they work on removing more and more wrappers, releasing more and more expectations and ways of being and culture and belief. I bet that they are experiencing this spirit directly. We can all get here every once in a while. And more would sure be nice, wouldn't it? But, ooh. So to me, this is the middle of the mesa. For those of you who are taking the class with me, we've been building up our own meditation altar in the tradition that I learned of universal shamanism. We call that a mesa. Its roots are in Peru. And we've been creating the cardinal directions, and we're working towards this Wednesday doing the centerpiece. The centerpiece is our soul. It's our access right here, right? So this is kind of where we like to stand, and this is where we can place ourselves when we use a sacred object that we create for that center object in our mesa and our meditation altar, so that we can experience this beauty. Ooh, just take that in a little bit. So look at all the colors. Wow. Ooh wee. So I wanted to relate that to unity. I wanted to share how in shamanic practices create that direct access. They call it direct revelation. It's not learning a wrapper or um, experiencing spirit through a wrapper. It's more direct information, but it still has a film of our human nature. We're still humans. Still has that film of the human nature. So in the looking at our wheel of consciousness, we can use the directions of the east and the south and the west and the north to remind ourselves of our connection to ourselves, each other, our kin, plants and animals, and our environment. But we can also remind ourselves that we have these three, at least three, levels of being, right? Spirit, soul, and body. And we do that in shamanic worlds. They have a kind of a vertical, if you want to think of that, a vertical map of consciousness, and they call that the upper, middle, and lower world. So when you access non-ordinary reality, you have a map, right? If you go anywhere in the old days, you had paper maps. Remember those? How many of you still have paper maps, like an atlas or something like that? They're really useful, aren't they? They're not as convenient as, you know, the GPS telling you to turn right or left without any manners, by the way. It should say, thank you for turning. It knows you turned right when it asks you to turn right. It really should say, thank you. Or, oh, sorry, you made a mistake. Please turn around. Or my favorite, I wish I could buy a voice that was set up that would say, please turn right, Your Majesty. Right? I want to give me some respect in that GPS, but the old-fashioned map is still useful. So in shamanistic cultures, they think of the map like this. So here's your map. And here's your middle world, which is our world right here. There's the upper world, not quite the same thing as heaven. And there's a lower world, which isn't quite the same thing as hell either. It's really, those are tools for one of the wrappers, right? Right? That's how I look at them anyway. So upper, middle, and lower world. What is this? Again, these are shamanic tools, shamanic choices of consciousness, because the shaman's job is to go get information, go get knowledge on behalf of their community for healing, for finding good hunting grounds, right? For making decisions and informing the chiefs and the leaders to make good choices. So they go get information from non-ordinary reality, from the spirit world, which we in Unity call that soul space, that subconscious space. So where do they go? Well, they have to decide. And for those of you that I've taught the beginning journeying to, what's the first thing we do? We relax, first of all. Then we set an intention. Where are we going to go there? We're not just having a little trip, right? We're actually going for a purpose. So where are we going? Why are we going? And where am I going to get that information? So you choose the lower world, which is usually, in the traditions that I've been taught, more earth-centered energy, right? The earth power. Usually our spirit animals are in this lower world. And lower, you could use different words. They're not really upper, lower, or higher, or under, over. They're just levels, right? So this lower level is those earth power animal areas, more nature centered usually. But these aren't firm boundaries because they're all one map, right? They're all connected. So that's a good place to go for problems that you're trying to solve, and you want more of a symbolic aspect to the story or the information that you're going to get. The animals might talk to you. They might take you on a journey. They might show you things, but it's usually very kind of symbolic, again, filtered through our subconscious. Or let's say you lost your keys and you want to find them. Well, hey, we could tune into the middle world for that, right? The middle world is this world right here of form, but it's the non-ordinary version of it. It's on the other side of the veil of it. We had Juliet join us last week. What's one of the wonderful skills that she offers in her services? Channeling. She's a medium, right? She accesses non-ordinary reality I'm sure not just in the upper, middle, or lower. I haven't asked her what her map of the territory is, but I know at least it's the middle, right? Because this is the non-ordinary side. This is the energy soup that we're in every day in our bodies. This is where there's all kinds of energies. There's thought forms out there. There's lots of glamour. There's positive and negative energies. If you're an empath, you pick up a lot of this stuff when you go into a place. Things you can't see. You know they're real because you can sense them, you can feel them. You can choose to acknowledge them or not. You can choose to feel them or not. But it's the energy side of our everyday consciousness. And then there's the upper world. And this is usually where our spirit guides are: ancestors, ascended masters, the angelic realm, beings, not usually or not just limited to like human formed beings, but this is where guides are: guides, teachers, gurus, virtual ashrams. This is all upper world stuff. So in my experience of the upper world, this is where there's a beautiful crystal castle, and this is where I can meet up and get information with people in my soul group. Like it's in a classroom, it looks like a conference room I can go to. Or I can meet people on the stairs of the crystal castle and have one-on-one conversations. Or sometimes I journey up there and there's a whole bunch of people in the plaza in front of the crystal castle. I don't really go in the crystal castle, but I do know there's a room up there where somebody's like writing in a book, right? And I can influence what's being written in the book. I've learned that through my journeys. Everybody's upper world, middle world, lower world is different. But the Foundation for Shamanic Studies in Santa Fe, founded by Michael Harner, has a research arm. And what they've been doing is collecting thousands of stories across cultures, many of them from Westerners that have learned the core shamanism techniques that they teach. But they have people draw pictures of their map of non-ordinary reality. What does it look like? Where do they go? And there's many similarities, but there's a lot of differences. Because why? Because this is the subconscious soul realm filtered through all of our experiences. So it's going to be different to each of us between our culture, what we've experienced in this lifetime. If you believe in other lifetimes, that's influence. Cultural things, it's all in there. So everyone's different, but there's sort of core similarities. And this upper, middle, lower is very, and kind of what they represent, what the flavor of each realm or world is pretty common across a lot of shamanic cultures. So lower, middle, and upper world. So the upper world is where you would go to get guidance, information, see the future, see the past. You can also get that in the lower world, but the information comes differently through spirit guides, power animals, and kind of more earthly journey-like experiences. Now, there aren't strong boundaries. It's all the same map. My spirit bear goes from the lower world right up to the upper world. So there's no like gates or anything like that. It's just a tool. It's just a map. And some cultures, as I've been learning more, have bigger maps, more levels. And I love the idea of a map because it's like the unfolding of other dimensions, right? Here's the unfolding of another dimension. And maps have keys, maps have information, they have colors. Look how big this map is. Oh my God. So this is just a taste of the territory of non-ordinary reality and ways to think about it. I look forward to teaching more with those that are interested about how we can use this with our wheel of consciousness to, help us bring more goodness into our lives and the lives of others. That's the whole point, right? This is just another tool set. It is very tapped into the mind and our imagination, just like unity practices, and it's also tapped into the heart, again, like unity practices. So tools like prayer and meditation, those are cornerstones in my life, and also similar in shamanic practices. This is just like a whole new tool set that is available. Another, I think I called it in a previous talk, like a new play box, a new sandbox, something that we can really tap into for our own purposes, because you never know what is going to resonate with the wrappers that we already have around access to spirit, right? So we don't know what's going to resonate. So we have to keep experimenting to see what resonates and works for us at different times in our life as our consciousness evolves. All right, let's do a meditation. For those of you on Zoom, let me just give you a minute to go get any kind of a stone to hold in your hand. And I know all of you in the sanctuary, oh good, Derek's got some. All those of you in the sanctuary have access to the stones that Victoria brought last week. And the reason we're using stones is because Juliet recognized that Spirit was giving us a sign last week. Spirit gave us the totem, us as a community, Unity Center of Montreal, gave us the totem of stones. And today I actually journeyed with two, where did I go? I went to the upper world and I journeyed on the meaning of that, the meaning of the stones. And one of the things I was shown, and this is probably more symbolic than literal, right? I was shown that those stones, when put together, no matter how small they are, when starting to be put together as a community, really starts to grow the foundation for a new beacon of love and light that can beam out in the physical realm to the whole city of Montreal, the whole island of Montreal, and beyond. And in the spiritual realm, can serve as a magnet for other positive goodness, physical beings, more people and kin, more of our plants and animals and environment to just start to coalesce around a growing bigger and bigger community that's bringing more and more love and goodness into the world. That's what I was shown in my journey. And it all starts with these stones. So these stones, that's what they stand for. And that's their purpose, and that's what we can do with them together. So anyway, I'm very kind of excited about that. You're all familiar with my swan drum that I had in Montreal. That's my traveling drum, but this is my preferred shamanic journey drum. Meet the bear. Oh, no, it's a friendly bear. She sings. Can you hear that? Does that sound okay? How about in the sanctuary, Kate? Sound okay? All right, let's use this for our meditation with our stones in our right hand. Our right hand is our charging up hand, because we're going to charge up this stone with all of the meaning that we can muster together. Please relax into your seat and take a deep breath, maybe two, and relax your body. Oh, sorry, I gotta turn this off. It's gonna make noise. There we go. Okay. Picture yourself with that spirit candy, that diamond. Picture that in your hand with your stone. And let's remind ourselves of our wheel of consciousness for Montreal. Call up the east in your imagination. Feel it or see it, imagine it, with the element of fire, the power of birth, and the will to live. Picture spring green and geese, the sound sound of geese, snowdrops and buds on the plants. Think of river stone, the St. Lawrence River. And think of all that going into the right palm of your hand and into the stone. Now turn your attention to the direction of the south, the element of water, the growth part of the life cycle, the power of giving, season of summer and the color yellow with hummingbirds, the smell of lilacs, the sound of the wolf and coyote, the beauty of gold. And to the south, the indigenous peoples nation. Charge up your right palm and your stone with that energy. Now with your next inhale, think of the west. Think of the Rocky Mountains. Think of rubies. Think of trees. Think of the colors orange and red, the sound of the bear, the season of fall, the element of earth and stone, like the stone in your right hand, the harvest time, and the power of holding. And charge that up into your right hand, into your stone. Now take a deep breath and think of the north now. Think of the northern lights and the North Pole. Think of the mineral of quartz. Think of pine and evergreen. Think of polar bears and penguins. See the color white and think of the winter season. A time of life of rebirth and spirit. The element of air and wind. These are all the characteristics of the north. Bring those into your stone in your right palm. And from the center where you are, hold yourself, your body, your soul, and your access to the superconscious, access to spirit. In this one place right now, in the center of all these beautiful directions, knowing that you're part of an expansive, multi-dimensional world that you have access to. Picture that shiny spirit candy, that shiny diamond with all of the colors of the rainbow, inside your heart. And bring that down your right arm into your palm and into your stone. And see if you can build up a shining, loving, magnetic love light in your heart and transfer that into the stone. You're sharing that with the stone. Now just bring your right hand to your heart. And let's just sit with all these energies we've remembered and reconnected to, just for a couple of minutes of silence. take a deep breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And come back and have a gaze at this beautiful light shining in each of your hearts and each of your stones as we build our shining, loving community light. Thank you so much for joining me for that. I hope that felt good and relaxing. Yeah. Make sure that you ground yourself. Stomp your feet on the ground. Go blah, 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 shake your hands out. Come on, yeah, there you go, Anna. Excellent. I see Kate moving. I see Leticia moving. Oh, good, Marco. Ah, Sharifa, Lisa. Woo, Derek. Gloria, Dr. Maya. Woo! And it looks like, is that Victoria in the back? Who's in the back there? All right. Now, are you back? Are you back? All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. I so enjoy your receptivity to these unique combination, I think, of shamanism and unity. That's how I roll, and thank you for enjoying it as much as I do. And thanks for letting me share that with you. I look forward to coming back, seeing you February 20th to March 20th. Will be my next time. Dr. Maya, do you want Sandra to finish up our things that we do, the offering and the peace and all that? Prayer protection? And you're muted, can't hear you.
Would you do it one more time for us? I just thought maybe you would want to ask Rosemary to say something about next Sunday. She's speaking next Sunday, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's do our offering and then we'll go into our announcements. So let's take all that good energy, of our shining, loving, magnetic love light that we're building together, and let's share that in the physical form, in the form of currency that we use to keep the building repaired and keep a home and a good foundation for our growing community. And there's a dish at the back of the room. For those of you online, there's ways to email a check, to send email or online transfer, or you can send a check into the center at the Center of Montreal. But join me in our blessing. All right, this is the fun part, right? Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyously give, and all that I joyously receive. We are grateful. Thank you. And now for announcements. Rosemary, would you like to go next? Share about your C classes?
Our C classes are about to end, and next Sunday we will look at the allegory of the Christmas story from a metaphysical standpoint.
Reverend Rosemary, are you the visiting minister for January, or is Maya back?
Well,
Maya, maybe you want to talk
I am
about that?
virtually.
Virtual, okay.
I'm the virtual
minister in
minister.
residence. Excellent, excellent. Wonderful. And Maya, Dr. Maya, do you have announcements?
I'm flying in on Friday. I will be in with the ministry for the Advent season. And what I would like to say maybe, and this is a good moment for you to put on your calendar, we are going to have a candlelight service on the 18th, Sunday, the 18th of December. And then, to my great delight, Reverend Chris and her shamanic students are going to lead, facilitate, share with us the winter solstice on Wednesday, the 21st, right, Chris?
Yes, yes. Wednesday the 21st at 5 o'clock.
So,
Only on Zoom. On Zoom. It'll be a Zoom ceremony.
but the candlelight service is in the sanctuary as well. So if you do that for me, for the advance season, and for these upcoming dates, mark your calendar. So we really try to continue to do a hybrid format to honor being in the sanctuary if you can, and those who want to be on Zoom. And then we got Sandra, our in-sanctuary coordinator, who helps facilitate it when I'm not there or when there isn't Reverend Chris or a unity minister there. She did. So in a way, this is an experiment for January and February that we, although Rosemary will be on Zoom speaking to us, we will come together, those of us who can come together in the sanctuary to have the experience of physical fellowship. So just mark your calendar. Candlelight service is on the 18th, on Sunday the 18th, and then the winter solstice, 21st, 5 o'clock in the evening with Reverend Chris on Zoom. But I will be in the sanctuary and we'll be Zooming from the sanctuary as well. So, okay, all right. Those are my announcements. Yes, we will have James Gator doing Christmas stories with us for the Christmas for the Sundays that are doing December. James Gator will do Christmas stories, continuation of Christmas story and the metaphysical meaning. And then in January it will be Reverend Rosemary doing the Sunday talks, and then we will really list the, at least for the next 6 months, we have worked out a schedule between Chris and Rosemary, myself, and so you will be starting to get a feeling, and that is so a very, very important emergence. As these people have come to visit with us and be our minister in residence, some of them are bringing gifts that resonate for them to continue to bring to Montreal. And so Rosemary has the gift of teaching, and Chris the gift of the shamanic rituals and teaching. And they both have agreed on a rotating basis to bring that teaching to Montreal. So you see there is a sort of a blossoming from, it's through the portal of the Minister in Residence program that they have come in. But now they are they're planting roots in Montreal. They are continuing to come, and each one is doing their own thing. Each one has a unique aspect in the teaching. And what I love is that Montreal is now capable of being and providing for all of us a multi-layered aspect and understanding of what unity teaches. So I hope you're starting to get the vision of this emergence. And that is my gratitude that this was a vision that I had and that we set into motion. And now we got, look at you. There you are, Chris. You just finished a month and your enthusiasm is so infectious. And then there is Rosemary, who has a very serious path to SCE classes that people who want to become leaders in unity can take. And with Sandra, I'm serious about developing a home study text in French that on a very small level individuals can use on La Pensée du Jour. So, it's happening. But
Show some appreciation. Woo! Let's celebrate.
I'm very aware that whenever you have creativity at work like this, whenever there is a breaking open, you have ideas, you plant them, and then you watch how if they take roots, if they make it within the soil that is Unity Center. There's always hiccups. There's always, in the beginning, it feels like, oh my God, where are we going? What is, spirit is in charge, and there's a very powerful energy that Unity Center of Montreal, all of you who have a long history with Montreal, there's a powerful spirit that resides and shepherds us all. So that is my happiness, and I'm flying on Thursday, and I arrive on Friday. So I look forward to seeing you and hugging you in person. All right.
To the spirit that shepherds us all.
Right. I would love to continue doing what both of these ladies have done, and that is to go for lunch on Sunday. If any of you, I have never done this in the past. I'm a virgin when it comes to going for lunch. I want to continue to do that. It looks like it's been wonderful for the people who are in the sanctuary to maybe next Sunday, if you would join me, to go for lunch. Okay.
Woohoo! Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. All right, let's do our prayer of protection.